Hello and welcome to my channel, Making Crafts. Today I have a new to me shop and some new papers to share with you. And so these papers are by Antonio from Antonio Makes, and he has a YouTube channel, but now he also has a digital shop. And so Antonio contacted me and asked me if I would like to be on his design team, and so, or his creative team. And so I was excited. I would love to be a part of his team. And so I am going to be doing this project today as my first design team project for Antonio. And I'm going to link to his shop below. And the papers that I'm showing you now are called Imperial Indigo papers. I printed a small sampling of the papers that are in the kit, digital kit, but there's a lot more. I just did not get them all printed out. I am having issues with my printer, and well, my printers, both of them are acting up. So I'm thinking it could be my computer. My computer's getting really old, so that may be the issue. But I will link to his shop. I'll link to this kits, or the kits that I am using. And also I will put a coupon code below. Antonio gave all my viewers 10% off. So if you use the coupon code Susan10 at checkout, you will get 10% off. And when you use that code, it helps my channel just a little bit when you do use that one. So I will put all that information in the description box, and I'll leave a little comment in the comment section as well, so that if you missed any of that, if you're not sure how to get to the description box, I'll be sure to leave some of the information there as well. For today's project, I am creating a 4-pocket fold out that has a hidden journaling spot. So you've got a pocket here on the front, and then you have another pocket, and then the 2 tags is your 4 pockets, and then when you open it up, you have your journaling spot. Now, I used just some fabric dye to dye this paper, and this is just regular copy paper here. You could, when you attach it to your page, I intended it to be attached this way, and then you can journal. But you could also make it a pocket. If you're going to make it a pocket, be sure that your base here is thicker paper, maybe even cardstock, or at least some 32-pound paper, something a little thicker, so it doesn't tear when you are using it as a pocket. But for this one, I intended for this one just to be glued down. And so I did create this one using the Imperial Indigo papers, and I've used the postcards from the kit here, and I've also used the tags from the kit. So let's create one now using some more of the papers from the kit. So this time, instead of using the blue dyed paper for the base, I've got some tea stain paper, and I don't know if you can see, this one has dots on it, and so I'm going to use it as the base. And so I've just cut it to 5 by 10, and we're just going to fold it in half. And I find that this fits my pages well, this size does. You'll just have to keep in mind that you may have to cut all of your measurements down if you're making a smaller journal. Now I have gone ahead and cut down the postcards. They're quite larger than this, but I cut them down to fit inside the pockets. And then I've gone ahead and cut out the tags, and I've backed them with some tea stain paper. So for this one, I've decided I want to use these 2 sheets of paper, and I'm going to be using the top part of this one and pretty much the whole sheet of this one. For our first cuts, we're going to cut off this top of this page, and this is going to be what creates our tag pockets. So I want to cut a strip off of this page that measures 3 1/4. And then I'm going to cut that in half at 5 1/2. Make sure, let me see what this measures. Mine measures 10 1/2, so I'm going to cut it in half at 5 1/4. So then for the bottom of this page, I want to cut off a strip that measures 2 1/4. I almost did 2 1/2. It needs to be 2 1/4. And then I'm going to cut that strip down to 5. So for this sheet, I'm going to cut off the top strip, and I'm going to cut off 3 1/4. And then I'm going to cut that down to 5 as well. So the two pieces that I cut off from the top of the paper that measure 5 1/4, I'm going to go ahead and score those. These are going to be my pockets for my tags. So I'm just going to put them in my scoreboard, and I'm going to score. And so I have my paper in the scoreboard, the 5 1/4 inch side to the top of the page, or top of the board, and then I'm going to score at 1 1/2. I'm lightly scoring because this is 32-pound copy paper. It's not like cardstock, so you don't have to score as hard. Then my next score mark is going to be at 4 inches. We're just going to do that with this next sheet as well. So we're going to put the 5 1/4 inch side to the top. We're going to score at 1 1/2, and then again at 4. And there we have our score lines. So we'll just fold those on the score lines. And before I fold them totally up, I do want to punch a hole in the top of them. I got to figure out what is the top because it's hard to tell the top from the bottom. Okay, so this is my top. So what we're doing is we're just cutting the little tabs so we can see where our tags go in. So I'm just going to cut that in the center there, and I'm going to line both of mine up together. That way they look pretty even when they're on the page together. So then I'll just cut out a half circle at the top. I'm just going to eyeball the center. And there we go. So when you fold this up, you will see the paper from the inside. Now I did not print mine double-sided, so you're seeing the white. So on the one that had the darker paper, I did go back and add some tea stain paper, but I think what I'm going to do for this one, since it is lighter, I'm just going to ink it so that it has a little bit of background. I'm just going to ink it with my brown ink, and I'm going to ink all the edges as well. So let me show you how I'm inking those, because I just realized when I was inking it that you may want to see how I'm doing it so that it gives it more of a tea stain look. So I'm just taking my sponge and just inking further down. But you can just add tea stain paper, or you could print on the back. Just use another design and print on the back. But with this piece, I don't think it's necessary. So I'm just inking the sides and the top. You do want to ink where your little cutout is too. Your little thumb hole. And there we go. I'm also going to go ahead and ink all of the strips that I cut. So I've gone ahead and inked all of the pieces, so we're ready to start assembling it all. So first, for the pockets here, we're going to want to glue, so we're going to fold them over, and that's how we'll glue it shut. But you do want to remember also that you want to glue along the bottom, just along the very bottom here, so your tag doesn't fall out. So then I'm just going to glue along the edge as well on one side. So when I fold it over, it just glues it shut. So it made just a little pocket there. And I'm going to have to go back and ink it because I had it folded differently when I inked it. But that's okay, we can just go back and fix that. If you do the same thing I did, just go back and fix it. So then once again, just going to glue along the bottom on both sides, and then I think I had it folded this way, then along the edge of this one. I was just checking to see how I had it inked to make sure I didn't have a half circle ink there. So there we have our pocket, both of our pockets. So we can add those to our sheet of paper. So I've just cut this paper 5 by 10, and then folded it in half, and now we're just going to attach these to the top, and you're just going to line these up with the top of your paper. So this is a very easy one to put together. So you could have a mass make section and make a bunch of these up, because when you cut your strips off the paper, you could cut more than one strip so that you can make these pockets. But since I was showing you, I just wanted to do one pocket with you, and then maybe one day we can do a mass make. But when I'm teaching something like this, I think it's easier to just show you the entire process first before we make a bunch up. We're just gluing these on, lining them up, trying to get them kind of lined up straight with each other. And they fit perfectly on there at those measurements that I gave you. So then we're just adding our pockets. So the first pocket that measured 3 1/4, it's going to go first. And you just want to figure out how much you want of your tag pocket showing. And so that's how I'm going to do mine, about like that. But you can do whatever you like. So then I'm just going to glue across the bottom, the sides, and leave the top open. Okay, got my paper on there just, there we go. Find my tool here, just press down. Get the edges pressed good. And then the next pocket, you're just going to line up with the bottom, so you really don't have to worry about it or think about where to put it. It just goes right along the bottom there. And I am seeing I got a little hanging over here, so I'm just going to trim that off just a little bit. Because you can just trim it off if you've got too much. There we go. And this one I may have just a little extra. If I do, I'll just trim it off before I add it on. I'd rather trim it before I glue it than after I glue it. It's fine, so it doesn't need trimming. But if yours is just a little long, just trim it. Just remember, don't trim the tag pockets. Since those are folded, you would cut into them. So you don't want to trim them once you have them on. So just add that. And there we go. We can start decorating it up and adding our postcards. So for the other one, I added lace, and I want to add lace to this one, but I'm trying to decide which color lace. So for this one, I added like a turquoisey looking lace because of that in the butterflies, and there was some mixed in on all of the papers. You can see the turquoise is in there. So I decided that I wanted to add it, but for this set of papers, it's more blues than turquoise, so I thought I would just try out some of the blues I have. I kind of like this navy. I think that's going to probably be the best one. This one would look great, but it's just too large. And then let's see. This one, that would work, but I think it's just too light. So let's do the navy one. Now this is a really dark navy. It almost looks black, but it's navy as well. Do I like that one better? Let's see here. I'm thinking I might like that one better. This, I guess, now looks more like a royal blue. Just have to audition them and see. I don't think I could go wrong with either one. But I think I'm going to go with this darker navy. And let me see if I can get this wrapped back up before I make a mess of my lace. So you may be wondering about my lace spool here. I took a day or several days a few months ago and rolled all my lace onto spools like this that my husband had cut out of wood for me. And I really like it because it has made it so easy to find my laces instead of, I had them all just thrown in a drawer. So I think that's worked out really good. So I'm just going to add that to the top there and then the top of that pocket. Have to always look to figure out what's the right side. I think it's this one. I'm just using a little Fabri-Tac to add this to the top. Of that pocket. Then I'll just trim it off. And I do just raise the lace up. I made a thin line of glue Then I raise the lace up and just add a little bit more underneath it so that it doesn't go anywhere. There we go. I don't want a lot because sometimes this fabric tack will show through your lace if you're not careful. So I want to be real careful and not have it showing through. So I try to do a thin line first and then add more if I need it. And I think that looks good on that one. So we have some butterflies in the kit. Oh, we need to add our tab first. So what I did with the other one is I added a tab that came in the kit. So now I just want to choose which one of the tabs I want to add to the side of my pocket. And I'm thinking the darker color for this one. Maybe that one would be good or that one. I think I'll go with the one, this one. Ooh, I kind of like that one. It kind of has the lace look of this. Let's do this one. So I think this tab is going to work perfectly and match perfectly. I am just going to slide it under the lace there and then under the little pocket there. But I do want to ink it first because you can see the white paper where I cut it. So I want to just ink it a little bit so it goes with the rest, and then we'll just add the tab. And be sure when you add the tab that you open it up and that you don't glue it to the back side of your paper because you'll glue your whole journaling spot shut. So be sure to glue it to this spot. I do things like that all the time. And then here's our little tags that's going to go in, which I need to punch holes in those and figure out some ribbon for them. And here are the postcards that we're going to put in. But what I found was they're a little too tall. They were too wide, so I cut them down, and then they're too tall. So I want to decide which one goes where, and then I'm going to cut them down to fit so that you can still see the lace. So now they fit perfectly in the pockets. I think that looks really good because I like to have that lace showing. I didn't want to cover up my pockets, and then I wanted to have the top pockets showing too. So I just trimmed my cards down. You would not have to trim them down if you don't mind the lace being covered, and it wouldn't hurt anything to be covered. I just wanted to be able to see the lace. So I'm thinking I do want to add a butterfly down here. So I'm going to cut some of these out, and then we'll figure out which one goes on here. So here the pockets are completed, and I love how they turned out. I did add the little butterfly on each one, and then for this one I decided to go with a different ribbon for the tags. Like this one I went with the same lace that was in here, but I kind of like all the blues that's in this kit, so it kind of pushed me to try different blues together because I think all these blues look so good together. So I decided to mix it up a bit with the lace and the ribbon. And so I do love how these turned out, and I hope that you will give them a try. I think they're going to be great in a journal, and you could downsize these some so that if you're making a smaller journal, just make everything just a little bit smaller. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed these, and I hope that you will give them a try. And I will have all the information in the description below, and I know people ask me sometimes how to get to the description. There's a little arrow underneath this video. If you click on that, it'll either open up below my video or over to the side, depending on what kind of device that you're using. And in the description, I'll have a link to Antonio's shop. I'll also have the coupon code Susan10, where you can get 10% off of your order in Antonio's shop. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.